Hey guys, it's Angel, welcome back, and we have a great one today. I'm excited about this. This is the Britten Norman BN2 Islander, made by BlackBox Simulations. I am super excited because this is a cool aircraft, and there haven't really ever been really good ones made. Now, there was one done for P3D FSX, but, whereas this is really nice. I am so happy with this. So far, BlackBox are the guys who brought you the L-19 Bird Dog, the civilian/military reconnaissance aircraft. This old clunker is still in service and production. Yes, they are still in production, and they have been for the last 50 years. Originally built by Britten Norman, bought out by later, I think it was Fairy Aviation. They're now built in Romania, finished in Belgium, but they are used by the British Army, police forces in the UK, and they're in service with over 30 military operators around the world, and dozens of civilian operators. 1,200 have been built, and I know they've been used for some test programs as well. A kind of rough ballpark on its actual performance. The Islander is generally 200 to 300 horsepower engines, from what we know of it, and the various variations. They're used for skydiving, they're used for all sorts of other factors, and they, if I could actually pull up some statistics on this bad boy, can seat 10. So it's really good. They're a fantastic aircraft for bush operations. They use two Lycoming 0540s at the moment, I believe, in the current version of the BN2B, and two bladed Hartzell props. So they can do about 148 knots max speed, cruise at 130. They'll stall around 40 knots, which is incredibly good for short runway takeoff performance. Fixed landing gear makes them incredibly good here, and the takeoff run to 50 feet is 1,200 feet. Landing from 50, 980. They are perfect for short field operations. Now, before we go inside, let's take a quick look around the outside. Now, BlackBox do some incredibly good work with detail, and I'm not disappointed by this. This is the Air BC version. As you'll see now, this thing comes with dozens of liveries. You've got about 12, 15 here. It's incredible. They're all really nice as well. Some awesome variants, including the military version as well. Now, as we see, the modelling is good. Okay, I'll be a little critical of the tiny blurred line on the prop hub, because I have to be critical about something, and the mapping around the intake there is not 100%, perhaps. Now, I know they have new versions already suspected to come. In fact, they've announced themselves there will be some new additions and variants and options, so maybe we'll see a Trilander? Who knows? The exterior modelling is lovely. I have not read the manual yet. Now, chances are there are some other options and variants with this aircraft, like with the Bird Dog. But for £24, this costs, or about similar price in dollars. Link is in the description to their website for this, by the way. You get a lovely aircraft. Now, there are spots where the texture's a little mushy, like that. Not my favourite. However, you're not looking up that often. This is where you're mostly looking, and it might look cramped, but this is actually really, really spacious in terms of operations. Visibility is great out the front. It's great out the side. It feels like you're flying a garden shed, but I love this simplicity of controls. These 4 switches control our doors. So we have our baggage door, passenger door. Obviously, we have the pilot's door. Probably want to use that with the engine running. We have another forward passenger door. And it takes care of everything for us. Real simple aircraft. Now, pop back inside here. We'll close those up for us right now. Aircraft operations are pretty simple. Now, I've not discovered where I have to click to get rid of this, but there's usually a click spot that they'll put on and or other options. So they usually take care of those sort of factors for you very easily. Probably should have read that manual, shouldn't I? I'm too excited. I love this thing. I wanted to get in straight away and review it. I love this thing. It's an aircraft I've always had a personal hotspot for. But without further ado, let's get it started up now. I have noticed a small glitch of having to cycle the selectors, which start as open, to make sure that's on. Battery is on. Let's get my fuel pumps on. Make sure the fuel valves are open as well. That's something you have to take care of. Let's get the magnetos on. I'm going to go for prop start. Okay, I've done something. Is Microsoft being special again? It probably is. It wants me to sometimes select across that. I'm pretty sure these are on. A bit of throttle? No? Let's try it again. There we go. It bit this time. Props will wind up, and whilst that happens, obviously your storm window opens nice and easily. Nice big click spots there. You can open this in flight. Wouldn't recommend. Obviously our visors are there and actually positionable. Rather than just two settings, you could fully control that, which is nice. Some of the ancillary things aren't clickable, which is a small downside, but not horrific. All the important switches are selectable. Now, I've not noticed a number of issues yet, but obviously it's rudder trim up there. Everything does seem to work relatively well. Let's make sure our avionics and instruments are on. Now that's not clickable. That could be a small problem for flying in things like VATSIM. But obviously you can set your numbers for the transponder, no problem. So without being able to hit alt mode, that can be an issue for VATSIM. Now, the detailing in here is pretty nice. There's some little bits where I'd say, if I want to be critical, it's not perfect. Oh, there you go. Yoke visibility. Boom. That is so simple. I didn't even notice that. See? Without even a manual or reading the manual, which, let's be brutally honest, most people don't do, you can work out this aircraft really easily. So everything is nice and simple. Seating, of course, in the back, and your passenger sits in the passenger seat for once rather than in a pilot seat, which is kind of a nice difference. And without further ado, let's go flying. Come on, you know we want to go flying. That's exactly what we want to do. So let's taxi this thing out. Have I left the parking brake on? I have. There we go. Get off. There we go. Okay, parking brake is off. Let's taxi this bad boy out. We'll put takeoff flaps on here. And we're going a little bit fast. Now, you are very low down to the ground, of course, in the Islander, which makes things a little bit more interesting in terms of your positioning. And it's very rattly and noisy, but the real aircraft is like this. I've been in one. They are. You feel like you're in a caravan or a trailer for you Americans. A small tin can that has had wings strapped to it. There's nothing glamorous about them, but there is something really gorgeous about their simplicity. They are super simple. This is a perfect aircraft for operating in the bush. It really is. This is ideal. Its short of field performance and its capacity is fantastic. Now, it's not the fastest at about 130 knots of cruise, but it will definitely get the job done. Let's line up here on 34. And let's advance the throttles to full. Now, we'll get to our speed for takeoff incredibly quickly here. In fact, there we go. So I get a little bit of side slip there from the wind. Okay. A bit of a crosswind on takeoff. Let's get those flaps up. Now, there is already a pack of flightsim.to for new camera settings. I was going to install them already, but I didn't, because one thing that I do want to show you is how it comes as stock. That and that are really your only two camera angles you get in this aircraft, which is not fantastic. So, unfortunate there. Would have liked some better camera views or instrument views of the aircraft. That is not something that it comes with, obviously, which would be nice. I sound like I'm being critical because I'm trying to not sound like I am shilling on BlackBox here. I personally love this aircraft, and I will have a problem being objective when a 206, a 207 Cessna ones, obviously, and a Beaver come out from whichever developer releases those, because they're my favourite planes, so I will have to be very objective with those, which is why, perhaps, and if you do watch this, BlackBox, I'm being critical to make sure I'm being objective. I can safely say I love this aircraft. The handling feels nice, its performance feels good, it's responsive, and it's comfortable, and it handles like an Islander does from what I've seen in them. They are often found doing little hops like between Scottish Islands. That's where I was on one. They fly in Ireland as well. They're all over the world flying civil. Obviously, this is Air BC. They have some. And there's even Cape Air, a little, main airline. So there's some really awesome stuff for this. Now, I'm going to bring the aircraft around here. We're going to go downwind for our approach to the runway here. We'll just finish our circuit, because I want to show you how this thing lands. It is wonderful. Now, there's plenty of bush strips out there. You can either get as add-ons or that come with the sim. Totally recommend you get some of those and enjoy this plane. It is a blast. Now, I haven't really been trying, and this thing is definitely climbing. It has great climbability, and it slows down like crazy when you actually throttle off, because look at this, throttle's back to idle, and I am dumping airspeed. Like, this thing gets heavy suddenly. We'll keep some speed on here, we don't need too much, but I'm going to drop down to about 1,000 feet now for our circuit. We're a little bit far out, but it will be fine. We're just extending our base, so runway is there off our side. Let's get ourselves down here, we'll pull the throttle back and we'll just descend. The visibility, like I said, is fantastic. Look at that side view there. You've got no real obstruction of the upper wing because you're ahead of it, obviously. Engine does block a little bit of that rearward vision, but you have got over your shoulder there behind it. Forward visibility in this aircraft feels phenomenal. This is really low glare shield and a really high kind of ceiling on the aircraft, and that's largely because of, as we go outside, you'll note very angled windshield there, great positioning for the pilot. And for a standard camera view, it is lovely. I'm just going to throttle this up. Those sounds are actually very accurate. That whining drone is super, super accurate to the Islander. Now, throttle it back. It sounds as rattly and ratty like it's about to fall out of the sky as the real thing does. Again, for those engine nacelles being so close to your visibility, that is something that grinds my artistic gears. Just like the misaligned texture on the intake. I'm sorry, I hate being critical. They're tiny little things that, to a texture artist, which is my specialty in the dev industry. I am a texture artist, both for Flight Sim and now Grand Theft Auto and previously iRacing stuff. Third party in that regard. I notice these things. They're things that maybe an average end customer will never see. But they are things that I notice instantly because of my background. Now, does it stop me enjoying it? Not even slightly. I genuinely, having been a fan of the Islander for a while, this rendition, I feel, does it proud. With this many liveries and several models within that pool of liveries, and updates coming soon, and I will say from the L19, BlackBox's turnaround on updates is stupid fast. You will get updates to fixes of things, you will see them fixed, you'll see them worked on, and you will see them improved. And I believe from 1.67, maybe 8 of the L19, he cranks out the updates. Like, you will not be left with a broken aircraft. You download it from the website where you buy it, and you will get updates in your email. It is super simple. Like, it works. I can't criticize it, actually. Okay, so flaps are set to take off because we do not need a lot of flap here. So, rolling onto runway heading, and it's often a little confusing how high up you are when you're landing an Islander because they are very, very low to the ground. That little nose wheel sticking out, the main gear basically just there, outside of the engines. I'm sliding off course a little bit. Slip it back on. Nice and simple, bit of power here. We're just coming in a little bit shallow. And we're coming in kind of quick for an Islander, but this is more than plenty. I'll throttle off now. We're going to go for touchdown on the numbers here. Let's hope we don't bounce or float. A little bit long. That was main gear down, and that's nose gear down. So the Islander is a very gentle aircraft in terms of how it flies. Look at that attitude of nose down there. Love this thing. Oh god, this is a great plane. I enjoy flying it. It's fun, beautiful selection of colourful liveries for it, and the price is good. £25, or about $25–30 for an aircraft that gives you this much in terms of options. It gives you a really fun to fly plane that is super simple to fly for a twin. I mean, this has got to be one of the simplest twins that I've ever flown. Fixed gear, about 130 knots. Room for 10 people. This is a great little island hopper, great little bush plane. Its utility for you as a flight simmer is quite high. With a lot of the economy systems, it's a great plane because you can have a decent load of cargo and people. And it's great for the short little flights where you want to do something a little bit commutery. Now, people might say, oh, well, they always say, oh, you know, this is overpriced, that's overpriced. I think this is reasonable. 25 is a good number. I do not feel remotely bad about paying that. I think this is definitely one of those permanent add-ons that stays in my library, and I would highly recommend it. Now, like I said, FlightSim.to, which is a website for flight sim add-ons and repaints and things, already has versions with a clean panel available. So if you don't like the chipped glare shield and panel, you can have a clean panel version of that instantly. Now, I like it because these things are pretty old in most cases. They get ratty. But it feels right. There were some repaints as well already. So this aircraft just out, but really, really nice. Really enjoy it. I would say this is a thumbs up and a recommend. Whether you guys want it or not is up to you, but the BN2 Islander from me from BlackBox Simulations does get the Avangel thumbs up. And after the aircraft I reviewed last, oh god, it's a breath of fresh air. So yes, the BN2 Islander. Totes recommenderino. Go buy it. Thanks for watching. Bye. See, it's wagging its wings. It wants you.